Hello, my name is Albert Pipkins. As of the summer of 2018, I am a student at Houston Baptist University, working towards my Master's of Arts in Theological Studies. Well, what are we going to discuss today? Martin Luther, the dynamic and persuasive Protestant reformer. Who is Martin Luther? He was a man who went from fearing God as a monk to knowing God as a revolutionary. The start of his walk with God was dramatic and life threatening. A bolt of lightning nearly struck him, frightening him half to death and instilling a deep sense of awe towards God. After all, who isn't deeply affected by a near death event? Due to this newfound deep respect for God, his soul was tormented. He valued God, but he didn't know God. This all changed when Luther meditated upon Paul's words: "The just shall live by faith." Salvation is received, not earned, nor has an earthly meditator. This placed Luther as a direct adversary of the Catholic doctrine. However, the theology in of itself did not incite Luther to engage passionate academic debate and propagation of three pamphlets. It was a Dominican monk, John Tetzel, on a sales pitch tour for indulgences, which were the exchange of finances for spiritual merit collected by Jesus and the prior saints. The monetary gain would contribute to, as Shelley states, a worthy cause or a pilgrimage to a shrine. Luther wanted the church to have nothing to do with such practices. This perspective threatened the church's power via removing it as an intermediary to God and the Pope's money supply via removing of the sacraments, in particular indulgences. They wanted Luther excommunicated. Luther fled to a safe castle owned by Duke Frederick the Wise, which was a blessing and a curse. The protection afforded Luther time to develop an operating theology, but made him dependent upon secular power. This appeared later as Luther vehemently opposed a German peasant revolt searching for personal freedom. Granted, the revolt was violent, but the German princes did not acknowledge the peasants' complaints. As a result of all Luther's exchanges with German people and the Catholic leadership, he had changed the landscape of Europe. The philosophy of his revolt and the expansion of communication and transportation technology laid a new foundation for the political and ecclesiastical structures to this very day. He was not the first to have the philosophy, of course, but he had the right dynamic and connections to pull off the transformation. This does lead me to one question, though. His dynamic personality. For a monk and a man of God, he seemed to be quite angry by modern standards, first towards himself and then towards German peasants, the Jews, and anyone who disagreed with him. It would be interesting to me to have a team of psychologists go through his writings and determine whether Luther was a narcissist, the importance being the lasting impact of Luther's flaws upon the German psyche, which later chose a maniacal narcissist, Adolf Hitler, as its leader. It may be a chance to find warning signs for our own choices of our own leaders.